In late 2022, a customized mansion in Alpharetta, Georgia, sat completely empty. Trust Bank moved beyond a notice for a missed payment and initiated full foreclosure proceedings, resulting in a court-ordered eviction executed by U.S. Marshals. The property's owners, Kim Zolciak and Biermann, faced a total financial breakdown, compounded by over $1.1 million in unpaid federal tax liens. When a high-profile brand collapses so completely that a primary residence is seized, it raises a practical question. How do visible earners lose their fortunes so quickly? And what structural choices dictate whether a business owner keeps their assets or loses everything? The answer usually traces back to a specific brand-building strategy. Public figures often leverage heavy debt and zero corporate separation to project wealth on screen, relying on their personal bank accounts to fund a lifestyle. The trade-off for that immediate liquidity is complete legal exposure. By holding liabilities in their personal names, a single default or civil lawsuit gives creditors a direct path to garnish their accounts and auction off their homes. For anyone generating independent income or building a brand, establishing a limited liability company is the required first step for asset protection. But that shield only exists if you understand the strict functional rules of how it operates. An LLC creates a distinct entity, placing a barrier between personal assets and business debts. But this shield is conditional. It only protects your wealth if you adhere to corporate formalities, requiring dedicated bank accounts and separate ledgers. This survival tier list evaluates the business structures of the Real Housewives. The S-tier row remains empty for now, as we analyze the specific points of failure that prevent these entities from being truly bulletproof. The highest achievable rank is the A and B tier, representing structures that are protected but flawed. This is where we find Sonia Morgan. In 2006, Morgan's entity, Sonia Productions LLC, failed to provide promised funding for a John Travolta film. That contract dispute resulted in a $7 million judgment against her company. Due to how the production was structured, that $7 million liability breached her corporate shield. Creditors were granted a direct line of sight to her $13.5 million in personal assets. Morgan survived because she used Chapter 11 bankruptcy as a secondary structural shield. By reorganizing her debts in federal court, she protected her remaining real estate and legally blocked her ex-husband from interfering with her asset liquidation.
Before we start ranking these franchises and breaking down how fast your favorite Real Housewife would actually go broke without their legal shields, let's talk about your real-world financial safety net. On reality TV, we watch these women launch massive makeup brands, fashion lines, and liquor labels, but a terrifying number of them skip the foundational legal steps, leaving themselves completely exposed. Most everyday entrepreneurs make the exact same mistake by operating as a sole proprietor or cutting corners on their corporate structure. That is exactly why one single product liability lawsuit, a massive bad contract, or a catastrophic brand scandal could instantly wipe out your personal savings, your home, and your entire future. To protect what you build, an ironclad separate legal entity is completely non-negotiable. That's where Northwest Registered Agent comes in. Northwest is the absolute best formation service out there, especially if you want elite privacy protection. For just $39 plus state fees, they handle your entire LLC setup and include a full year of their premium registered agent service. Their standout feature is privacy by default. They use their own business address on all public state filings to keep your personal home address hidden from internet sleuths and fans. I've linked my full, in-depth Northwest review in the description. Use my link down below to register your business through Northwest today and unlock exclusive discounts and perks. Protect your personal assets first, and then let's get into the rankings.
Dropping into the C and D tier, we find structures that are vulnerable to basic legal discovery. Dorrit and Paul Kemsley operate in this space. Paul Kemsley has a £53 million UK bankruptcy and a $2.27 million casino debt. To manage this liability, he relied on a network of international shell companies and investor LLCs to shield incoming capital from historic creditors. However, the couple's impending divorce acts as a catalyst. California community property laws mandate exhaustive financial discovery, which gives forensic accountants the legal authority to pierce those investor-backed LLCs and leave Dorit exposed to a massive debt load. Teresa Giudice occupies the same vulnerable tier due to a flawed approach to property ownership. In 2021, Giudice and her husband Louis Ruelas purchased a $3.4 million estate in Montville, New Jersey. They used an LLC to buy the property, but property records show Ruelas is the sole member of that entity. Last year, he leveraged that structure to secure a $1 million cash-out loan against the home. Because Giudice is not a member of the property holding LLC, she holds zero legal equity in her primary residence. Because she and Ruelas filed joint tax returns, her television earnings are personally exposed to his $2.6 million in outstanding federal tax liens. Lisa Barlow's ventures present another common vulnerability. To fund her entities, Vita Tequila and Jack Henry Spirits, Barlow absorbed massive personal loans. Court filings allege these funds were commingled, blurring the lines between corporate capitalization and personal American Express bills. This lack of separation resulted in a lawsuit demanding over $410,000 in unpaid loans. Utilizing an LLC means nothing if you legally tie yourself to a partner's liabilities or treat corporate credit cards like a personal allowance. Once the operational barrier is compromised, the courts will simply follow the money. The F tier is reserved for complete financial collapses, where negligence triggers an alter ego legal designation. Erica Jane serves as the primary cautionary tale. Her entity, EJ Global LLC, operated with zero capital, no separate books, and no distinct accounts. Instead of functioning as a business, it served as a conduit, funneling $25 million in client trust funds directly to her personal credit card. The bankruptcy trustee easily pierced the corporate veil. By labeling the LLC a mere continuation of her personal finances, the court stripped the liability shield, leaving Jane directly facing a $25 million clawback lawsuit. For our next example, Taylor Armstrong's financial ruin illustrates the legal consequences of active fraud. Armstrong bypassed the corporate shield of her venture capital firm, New Way Digital Systems, by converting investor checks directly into her personal bank account. This self-dealing voided any corporate protection, leaving her personally liable for millions in non-dischargeable liquidated damages. Kim Zolciak experienced a total collapse by operating with zero corporate structure. By purchasing an $880,000 mansion in her personal name, she gave Trust Bank a frictionless path to recovery. When she defaulted, the bank didn't have to litigate a complex corporate structure. They simply bypassed the courtroom and executed a standard foreclosure. An LLC provides zero protection if you commit fraud or fail to capitalize the business. In the eyes of the law, those actions are an invitation to dismantle your asset protection. Building a durable financial fortress requires specific, deliberate inputs. You have to properly register the LLC, ensure the business is funded with actual capital, open distinct corporate bank accounts, and maintain separated bookkeeping. You will lose the operational agility of paying personal bills from a shared account. That is the administrative friction required to preserve your immunity from catastrophic business lawsuits. This matrix outlines the trade-offs. The LLC absorbs business failures, provided it is properly maintained. A sole proprietorship offers zero setup friction, but guarantees 100% personal exposure, meaning a lawsuit can trigger a home seizure. The LLC prevents this, unless you commingle funds. The LLC structure is built for creators and entrepreneurs who possess the discipline to respect the administrative friction of total financial separation. Treating a corporate entity as a personal piggy bank means the LLC will not shield you. It creates a paper trail for creditors and bankruptcy trustees to seize your assets. Perfect operational survival is only possible once the evidence of strict separation is clearly established.